Now that Bill Belichick is out of New England and dating a girl who is young enough to be his grandchild, allegedly, Sean Payton moves right into his spot and is probably the most hated coach in the NFL. Let me know in the comments if I'm forgetting someone, but for whatever reason across the NFL, he just unanimously seems to just draw this negative attention and people like quick to pile on, and we saw that time and time again as Broncos fans, whether it was after the Wickersham article that aired last season where he dogged Nathaniel Hackett, whether it was the overreaction to the Russ talking to on the sideline in the Detroit Lions game. In this video, there have just been so many stories that have jumped across my Denver Broncos Google alert that I have set that I just, every time one of them pops up, I'm like, oh, Sean Payton was right again. Sean Payton was right again. Sean Payton was right again. And I wanted to share a couple that just came across the wire and just ask the question, like, what if Sean Payton was right? And what does that mean for the future of these Denver Broncos? If you're new to this channel, I'm Ben, diehard Denver Broncos fan, and I'm becoming a diehard Sean Payton fan. So let's dive in. So I'm not the only one feeling like this. This is a Reddit thread that was popping, not popping like our comment channel here on Sports Talk Denver, but it was really going. And everybody else is noticing like that absolute hate towards Sean Payton. So I'm asking the question, what if Sean Payton was right? And we're seeing all these things that are coming out and showing that he was right. The first thing, coming into the draft, myself included, I fell in love with JJ McCarthy. And it seemed like the Denver Broncos were falling in love with him too. And now we've heard more and more about it, that Sean Payton intentionally made us all think he liked JJ so that he could go out and get Bo Nix. We're seeing this from their press conference and several other plugged-in people saying this was a coordinated misinformation campaign from Sean Payton to make us think that he loved JJ McCarthy. Here's him at that press conference.
Actively involved in trying to pretend we were moving forward.
So kind of joking, kind of not. Like he was actively involved in trying to pretend like we were moving up for JJ McCarthy. Well, now it comes out that JJ McCarthy is looking like a 21-year-old who has not thrown that many passes in college because Harbaugh didn't give him that many passes in college. And so what we're hearing here, JJ McCarthy looks like a kid who might have the talent to be a top 10 pick, but the inexperienced 21-year-old is really shining through. So sometimes he's fitting darts into holes, and at other times he is bouncing balls to wide open receivers. So great sign there. We even just saw how he threw the opening pitch, and you're like, that does not seem like the kind of guy who has the kind of accuracy that we have seen time and time again throughout OTAs, throughout his entire time at Oregon, of the most accurate quarterback in FBS history. And so Sean Payton, 1 for 1 there, like making everyone thank you. You wanted JJ, and then it comes out later, all along you wanted Bo Nix, and you hoped he'd fall to you, and fall to you he did. Next thing, lot of hate this offseason about how we ended up taking the brunt of the Russ dead cap hit, and we ate the brunt of that this offseason, so that next offseason, like, we don't even have to worry about that much. The cap's definitely going to go up. We may add another game. We could be in a world where, like, the Russsell cap hit next year does not even affect us at all, which is fantastic. And one of the casualties of that was one of my favorite Denver Broncos safeties of all time, which is a, like, star-studded list. But that was the casualty of moving on from fan favorite, team favorite, community favorite Justin Simmons. And I think the fact that he is still a free agent right now, even though we are just 29 days from camp starting, the team's playing in the Hall of Fame game, like they're back in like 3 weeks, and he is still a free agent, which just shows me that us homers in Denver probably valued him more than his actual value was on the market, or he would have been picked up. You go through that, same people were like, oh, our run game was bad last year, and like Purcell is a beast and we needed him back. And again, he's still out there, and you just look through that there have been very few Denver Broncos free agents who've been swooped up and picked up and put on another team, which to me, again, is Sean Payton being 2 for 2. Next thing, we remember all of the immediate, all the stuff with Nathaniel Hackett and Sean Payton breaking the fourth wall, and Nathaniel Hackett being like, hey, if you're in a glass house, you shouldn't throw stones, and I'm a coach's kid, and no one does this. And Sean Payton last year in an article on ESPN said that the Broncos coaching job was the worst in the history of the NFL. And everyone at first was like, you shouldn't talk about other coaches like that. Well, then what we saw this offseason was that the New York Jets felt the exact same way, and that truly Nathaniel Hackett is only still employed because Aaron Rodgers wants his boy there and wants the guy who makes him laugh and does funny presentations and stuff like that. But the New York Jets went out and tried to find someone who would usurp Nathaniel Hackett's authority and bring in someone who was actually the adult in their room, and Nathaniel Hackett would just make funny PowerPoint presentations and Goldfinger references and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is that the Jets echo exactly what Sean Payton said. And so again, we're seeing him be right there. I think the other thing that shows Sean Payton is right and not this culture destroyer like everyone shows is the fact that David Shaw, when he could go anywhere in the world that a lot of people had him pegged as a head coach, where does he choose to go? To a place that still has Sean Payton under contract for 3 years. I think the fact that we now have over 20 former New Orleans Saints who played with Sean Payton or coached with Sean Payton who come here to play and coach with Sean Payton again is another example of him being right. Another one, we're just lining up all of these, and I'm just Sean Payton's hype man. So, Sean, if you're watching this video, would you hit a like or subscribe? Another one is moving on from Russell Wilson. That is truly going to be what makes or breaks Sean Payton's time here in the NFL. If Russell Wilson goes on and makes the playoffs and makes a deep run and looks like Russell of old, I think all of us in Denver will be angry at Sean Payton and be like, you made the wrong decision. Well, it seems more and more like even the Pittsburgh Steelers themselves, even though they get him for free essentially, are hedging on the future of Russell Wilson. We're seeing that even in the fact that they got Justin Fields after they already had Russ. So if they truly believe that Russell Wilson, for 2 years, they don't have to pay this dude, and they're like, we got a free Hall of Fame quarterback on our team for 2 years. Like, this is awesome. They still went out and got a former first-round draft pick to come in and be there. And now we're hearing multiple rumors that Dak Prescott, who is about to get a massive bag, they're saying it's going to be a $60 million a year deal for Dak Prescott, that he is actually the Dallas Cowboys' long-term plan at the quarterback position. And so if the Pittsburgh Steelers believed in Russell Wilson, and here we are, the Denver Broncos with dummy Sean Payton, and they just scooped it up, they would not be hedging multiple times by bringing in another quarterback and then already having plans for, they would rather give Dak Prescott $60 million a year than have Russell Wilson for free. And I just think that is, again, showing that what if all along Sean Payton was right on all of these kind of things. So, yeah, just very, very interesting here to really reframe that, and very curious in the comments. Do you agree with my take that Sean Payton is the most hated coach in the NFL? And do you think that that's justified or not? And do you think that the future of the Broncos is brighter having Sean Payton? I am definitely on board there and very, very excited because I think we have a lot to believe in. Oh, felt like 3 for 3. It was halfway down.